Hello, BookTube. Well, we have a small mail haul today. So far, I believe there's another one coming, but I'll let you know. so let's see what we have here. Let's see what's of interest. No boxes this time around, but there still might be something of interest. Oh, okay. All right, good. I requested this. This comes out in the spring, I think. Yes, this comes out in May. And this is A Sharp Solitude by Christine Carbo. There's a wolf on the cover. Sounded good. I love a good thriller. In a land sculpted by glaciers, the forest is on fire. Thick smoke chokes the mountain air and casts a twilight glow over the imposing mountains and vistas of Montana's Glacier National Park. Which, if you haven't been, you should go. When firefighters are called in to dig fuel line breaks near the small town bordering the park, a crew member is shocked to unearth a shallow grave containing human remains. And this is, in the darkening days of autumn, a murdered journalist's body is discovered in a remote region near the Canadian border. Before she was found, Anne Marie Johnston had been writing an article about canine research programs that use trained dogs to track scientific data. She was last seen with a man named Reeve Landon, whose chocolate lab was one of the subjects of the piece. Now he's the prime suspect. So it has it's a thriller, but it also has a canine element to it. And I read, I don't know if you can make these out, I read The Wild Inside by this author and loved it. So I'm hoping that lightning strikes twice. So this comes out in paperback at the end of May. I wonder if I still have The Wild Inside. I'll have to check and see. But anyway, that's a good start. So let's see what this next one is. Oh, great. Okay, I requested this as well. Wonderful. So this comes out also in May, I believe. No, this comes out in late July. Good Lord. This is by Kimberly Stewart. This is called Heartland. Kind of a nice cover. Grace Claren has finally made her dream of living in the Big Apple and working in the fashion industry a reality. But when she's unexpectedly fired and can't afford the next month's rent, Grace does something she never thought she'd do. She moves back home. Back in Silver Creek, Iowa, Grace is determined to hate it. She rails against the quiet of her small town where everything closes early, where there's no nightlife, where everyone knows each other. She's saving her pennies and plotting her return to New York when she almost runs over a man who's not paying attention at a corner. It turns out to be Tucker, her high school sweetheart, whose heart she broke when she left 10 years ago. They reconnect, and Grace remembers why she fell for him in the first place. Naturally, that appeals to me on a number of different levels. We'll see. I don't know the author at all. We'll see if the book is as charming as it sounds. Let's see here. Let's move on. What is this next one? Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay, this is by Nick Pienson. This is Spying on Whales. The subtitle is The Past, Present, and Future of Earth's Most Awesome Creatures. And this comes out in June. Whales are among the largest, most intelligent, deepest diving species to have ever lived on our planet. They evolved from land-roaming, dog-sized creatures into animals that move like fish, breathe like us, and can grow to 300,000 pounds, live 200 years, and travel entire ocean basins. Whales fill us with terror, awe, and affection, yet there is still so much we don't know about them. Why did it take whales over 50 million years to evolve to such big sizes? And how do they eat enough to stay that big? How did their ancestors return to the sea from land, and what can their lives tell us about evolution as a whole? Importantly, in the sweepstakes of human-driven habitat and climate change, will whales survive? I'm always up for a new book about whales. This one sounds really good. And Nick Pienson has a huge biography. He's the curator of fossil marine animals at the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C., and his work has taken him to every continent. So great. I'm always up for a book about whales, even though I sometimes think they only have gloom to report. This one sounds like it's going to have a lot to do with their natural history and their evolution, which is fascinating. So what have we got next here? Oh, okay, great. This is a novel called Lost Empress by Sergio de la Pava. From Paterson, New Jersey to Rikers Island to the streets of New York City, Lost Empress introduces readers to a cast of characters unlike any other in modern fiction. Dreamers and exiles, immigrants and night shift workers, lonely pastors and others at the fringes of society, each with their own impact on the fragile universe they navigate. And this author, there's a long story. He originally self-published a book called The Naked Singularity that came to me when I was just the beginning of Open Letters Monthly. And the self-published hardcover that I got in the mail was sent blind. And looked terrible. It looked absolutely terrible. And it was also physically falling apart. The binding of the hardcover was popping off from the page block. But I started reading it, and it's brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I praised it, and in my review, I said that this is exactly the sort of thing that ought to give mainstream publishers and all readers nightmares. The idea, the possibility that something this good might be self-published in a crappy-looking hardcover that no one ever sees, ought to give readers nightmares. And the book picked up traction. Other people reviewed it, and it eventually got republished in a lovely edition. And now he has an actual career. So that's fantastic. He's a major author. He's utterly fantastic. I haven't read this book. Can't wait to do it. But the Naked Singularity was the kind of performance that removes all doubt as to whether or not the author is going to be able to do it a second time. It wasn't that kind of a debut, so I'm not really worried that Lost Empress will disappoint me. But we shall see. I will report back. And if I remember, I will try to link my original review. I don't know where it is or how easy it'll be to find, but if I remember, I'll try and do that. Okay, great. All right. Ruthie has the perfect life. She just has to give it up every summer. This is a box. The galley's in a box. And then the book itself is the high season. Isn't that lovely? And it is, let's see here. No matter what the world throws her way, at least Ruthie Beamish has the house. Lovingly renovated, located by the sea in a quiet village on Long Island, the house is her nest egg, the retirement account shared with her ex-husband, the college fund for their teenage daughter. The catch? To afford her home, Ruthie must let it go during the best part of the year. The thing that will be familiar to a lot of you, I would imagine, or some of you anyway, who have seaside property. It's Memorial Day weekend, and Ruthie has packed up their belongings to make way for this summer's renters. Adeline Clay and her gorgeous satellite stepson. Elegant and connected, the widow of a blue-chip artist, Adeline lives in a world defined by luxury and ease. Soon she's helping herself to Ruthie's life as well. Is Adeline just being her fabulous self, or is she out to take what she wants? As Ruthie loses her grasp on her job, home, and family, she discovers a new talent for pushing back. And by the end of one unhinged, unforgettable summer, nothing will ever be the same. Now, this comes out in late May, just in time to buy it, at the bookstore in Martha's Vineyard and read it as your summer book. And that's clearly, I think, what some of the marketing is going for, is that this is going to be a great summer read. Publishers are already thinking ahead. They're thinking, what would work as summer reads. And the impression I get from this one, my spider sense, I could be wrong. The impression I get from this one is that it's one of those summer read books that is perfectly happy to reap the extra sales of being touted as a summer read, but that has more meat on its bones than that. That's the impression I get. So we shall see. I will report back on this one as well. All right. So there's a summer read in a box. Then Lost Empress by Sergio Leopold, which will probably be, I could be wrong. All of this is guessing. But it will probably end up being a major fiction release for the year. He's a serious author. So then Spying on Whales, a new book about the history, the natural history, and the ecology of whales. Heartland, about a young woman who returns to small-town Iowa after a fling with New York, and A Sharp Solitude, a suspense novel by Christine Carbo, whose previous books I need to see if I have. So, but there you go. That is a nice quick mail haul. I'm sure you can tell I'm a little bit rushed, but I'll be back. I'll be back with more videos. Thank you, BookTube.